Right, welcome back. Let's take a look at the world of sport now. And the big news today, Bafana Bafana coach Stuart Baxter has resigned. And this comes in the wake of the team's quarterfinal exit from the recent Africa Cup of Nations Cup tournament in Egypt. After only one decent performance, some would say. Baxter said that he had time to reflect on Bafana Bafana's performances and the way forward. And it felt that it was the right time for someone else to take over the reins of the national team.
Firstly, I must say that given the compromised preparations that they had, both the players and staff gave a strong account of themselves, and at this time in the rebuilding of this squad, the experience of this tournament will support future development. After the disappointment of not qualifying for Russia, I submitted a 4-step plan to SAFA. Phase 1 was the rebuilding of the squad, both in terms of average age, deepening the squad and improving the culture surrounding the squad. Going to AFCON, this squad had not lost for over a year and a half, and that was of course not an easy thing to do whilst introducing new players and new ideas. I'm sure that you guys would have been licking your lips if we'd have been, during that process, losing every other game. Going to this AFCON became phase 2. After qualifying for that major tournament, we needed to gain the confidence and experience to be able to compete at the highest level again and to test our in-tournament strategies. Phase 3 would be to gain momentum, and I believe that this squad is now well placed to do that with the introduction of a few younger players who have been identified from the younger squads, and Phase 4 was obviously to make an impact at the World Cup. I do, however, feel that someone else should now continue this project, and therefore I will be resigning from my position as head national coach with SAFA. I feel that I cannot continue to work with the required professionalism and passion that I have done, and to deal with the many issues that will be involved with this programme. Excuse me. A coach must have confidence that his input will help forward the project. And at this moment in time, and particularly after the experience of AFCON, my belief in that process has weakened considerably. I've chosen not to point fingers in the past and will not do that now. I'm a professional, and even when it would have been easier for me personally to blame others, I've remained focused on what I could do to affect the situation and trying to retain a level of integrity. Choosing not to answer some hugely inaccurate, misinformed and misleading media coverage has also been difficult, but something that I've grown used to and tried to not let it sway my judgment. But in the process, risking being accused of being arrogant or aloof for not answering. I would like to thank each and every player that has played under me with Bafana during the last couple of years and wish them all the best in their continued international careers. For their part, everyone at SAFA House will need to work together with other major stakeholders effectively, and I would like to thank Russell and the President and wish them good luck for the future with Vision 2022. Thank you.
All right, so for more on this, we're now joined in studio by SABC sports analyst David Kekana. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the programme.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so some might say this wasn't really a huge surprise. Maybe the timing, but maybe not.
Look, there was a plethora of problems that Stuart was encountering with the association SAFA, and it wasn't surprising for me to see that he's resigned. In a sense, if he wasn't a consummate professional as I know him, somebody would have resigned prior to the tournament, given the litany of mistakes that were happening within the association that led to a lot of problems that surrounded the national coach.
So give us a clue what might be going on, because when I listened to that statement, it wasn't so much what he said, it was what he didn't say that sort of kept me intrigued. He says, I'm not pointing fingers, which means I really should be. He says, I can't carry on with the same enthusiasm, which means someone has dampened that enthusiasm. He says, I can't keep on with the same level of professionalism, which means the opposite, something is working against that. Give us a clue to what might he be referring to without actually saying it.
Look, Stuart came on board in 2017 May. Of course, his mandate was that it's a 5-year contract that leads him to qualify in South Africa for the 2022 World Cup, which we all know that is going to happen in Qatar. And for that reason, there were quite a number of discussions with the association that in terms of improving the team. First and foremost, I mean, the disappointment of not going to Russia, as we all know, and his other mandate then was that South Africa should qualify for the AFCON that we've just experienced in Egypt. When you look at that, and you look in terms of when Sheikh Mashaba left, Sheikh's mandate was that he was supposed to qualify for the 2017 AFCON, and he surprised us by qualifying for the 2015 AFCON, and missed out on the goal that was set for him, which was the 2017 AFCON. So for Stuart to qualify us for the 2018 to 2019 AFCON, and of course qualify us in a manner with which South Africa did not lose a single match, I think for me that was great. People will say, no, but why didn't he qualify for Russia? But his mandate, specifically from a World Cup perspective, is 2022. The things that Stuart met is that, given the financial troubles that SAFA have experienced, there were quite a number of things that they've promised him that were never really delivered. Firstly, let me give you an example. Stuart, going into the qualifications for the AFCON, Stuart did not even have a car to travel with.
Wow.
Yes. You know that SAFA are sponsored by a car company, and so the officials of SAFA are driving in cars, but the national coach did not have his car. I was surprised to meet him and see that he was driving his Mrs. car.
Wow.
And I said, wow. Stuart, nice wheels. Isn't that your Mrs. car? Yeah, it's my Mrs. car. But because he's the kind of guy that doesn't want to talk, he didn't say much. But he was driving his Mrs. car instead of the official car from SAFA. Secondly, whenever he was traveling to go and meet the players and look at the players leading to the AFCON, traveling agents and, of course, car agencies did not want to give him cars. He'll land in Durban and he'll have to book out of his pocket, book a car for him to go and see players or watch a game.
Because SAFA was a persona non grata?
Because they did not pay their dues as far as other things that they owed. So those litany of problems that he experienced. Let's go to qualifying for a tournament like the AFCON, where, of course, you do understand that you need lead-up games leading to the tournament itself. Yeah. Stuart had only one game that he played, and that game was against Ghana. And you've got two squads. If you understand when you build up for a tournament, you've got two squads within one where you need to prepare for the tournament. He had only 45 minutes because 45 minutes you have got to use one squad and 45 one squad. And that was against Ghana. He had a game against Angola that was cancelled. He had preparations in terms of traveling to Saudi Arabia cancelled 2 times. So and that is a problem because then the players had to travel. Initially, were booked in 2 separate flights to go to the AFCON in Egypt.
So some people might say, a man who's been married 5 times, 6 times, at some point he might have to say, maybe I'm the problem. So we've had so many coaches, Coach Bafana Bafana. Could we be now saying that it's SAFA that's the common denominator in all of our failures?
Look, I do understand that SAFA, like a lot of companies in South Africa, are facing a lot of problems in terms of finances. But again, you have to look in terms of what happens as far as the national team is concerned, and of course what happens behind the scenes. Officials can be found to be traveling and all their plans are okay, but the national association, the players and of course the coaches are suffering. That for me is a big problem because that is a reflection of the organization. We reflect on the organization in terms of how Bafana Bafana play, how Banyana play, and what their preparations are all about. And that is what we judge them on, not what the officials are doing behind the scenes. And I think that's the big problem as far as the organization is concerned.
So what's next? Who do we appoint next? Do we go back to local? Do we get another foreign coach? Given that the actual structure of football from primary school level right up to the national level needs a lot of work still.
Look, There's a lot of names that have been thrown into the hat as far as the national team coach is concerned. I mean, I think Pitso has got unfinished business as far as Bafana Bafana is concerned. I think now he's matured a little bit, having gone to Sundowns and having experienced what happens on the continent. I think that puts him ahead of all the coaches as far as South Africa is concerned, because you need somebody who has traveled the continent and who understands the problems that we encounter on the continent to prepare Bafana Bafana. You don't need a coach who has just coached in the PSL and says that I want to be a national team coach, but has never experienced the rigors of going on the continent and the problems that you encounter when you are traveling. You need somebody with that kind of experience. And Pitso has got it traveling with Sundowns, and he's got it, and he understands the African game more than a lot of coaches that are in the PSL right now. I think as far as SAFA is concerned, I do not know where they are looking. Yep. Others will say Micho at Orlando Pirates, he's been there with Uganda, he understands South Africa, and so it's somebody that they've got to look at. But again, the issues of finances are going to come into the fore as far as SAFA is concerned, because they are suffering as an organization, and we do understand that. So that will, in a sense, give a picture in terms of who they go for and who they accept as Bafana Bafana coach.
All right, I mean, this is a conversation we can have forever. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there for the time being. But serious questions need to be answered, and we'll see how they try and do that in the coming days. Thanks so much indeed.
Yep, thank you so much. And maybe they're losing out, and China's gain would be South Africa's loss.
All right, so why don't you apply? All right, that's where we're going to leave that for the time being.